Anthony Davis to sign with the Golden State Warriors, and this trade would break the NBA. Now, as you all know, LeBron James hasn't been happy with Anthony Davis and has been looking to actually ship him off to another team for some better options. And Golden State Warriors are the first team to be interested in Anthony Davis. So in today's video, we're going to be going through 5 reasons why Anthony Davis is perfect for the Golden State Warriors. So make sure to like this video if you want more Golden State Warriors content like this. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that red button down below. But let's get straight into the first reason. The first is that Anthony Davis will provide a lot of scoring for the Golden State Warriors. Now, as you all know, Anthony Davis is an absolute baller, and so far this season, even with a lot of injuries, he is still averaging 26 points per game, which puts him second for the Los Angeles Lakers with only LeBron above of him. But Anthony Davis is an all-out scorer. He's able to shoot, he's able to dominate from the inside, and that's what makes Anthony Davis so special. I think it has been a while since Golden State Warriors have had a scoring big man. Now, if we look at the current roster for the Golden State Warriors, we see Draymond Green, who is a bit more of a passer and more of a defensive star rather than any offensive plays. And then you also have Kevon Looney, who just provides the rebounds, doesn't really have any scoring from outside, and usually just stays inside for tip-ins or maybe dishes off in the paint. So they haven't really had a big scorer in a while when it comes to the big man position. The closest thing they've probably had to that was Kevin Durant, and during those seasons they did win, NBA championships and multiple at that. So I think it would be fantastic to have someone to run a pick and roll with someone like Stephen Curry that is able to score. As you remember from the days with KD and Steph, they ran a great pick and roll that was pretty much unstoppable. If you decide to double on Steph, you left KD open. If you decide to sag off on KD, then you end up with Steph shooting a wide open 3. So that was honestly such a big problem for a lot of teams, which is one of the reasons why they went back to back in championships. And the fact that having someone like Anthony Davis being added to this roster would only even make this better. They definitely increases their chances of that pick and roll becoming much more effective, as they now have 2 lethal scorers in Anthony Davis and also Steph Curry, or even Jordan Poole for that matter. So I think his scoring will provide a lot of different opportunities. Right now, Draymond Green, obviously, when running the pick and roll position, doesn't really have too many scoring options, so the focus remains on Steph. But Anthony Davis, when it comes to his scoring, he's able to shoot the 3-ball really well, which I think is fantastic. He does shoot more of mid-range shots, but his 3-point shot is still somewhat there. He only takes 3 threes a game, but he still averages 33%, which is on average, so it's not too bad. But when it comes to mid-range, he shoots very well. Inside post-up game is honestly fantastic, and I think it will be a huge plus to the offense, because when all the focus is on Steph, all the focus is on Clay, you need that extra score that's going to provide you with some, and I think Anthony Davis can definitely be that guy. Now, don't get me wrong, you got Wiggins as well, who are great wing players, but you need someone on the inside that's able to score and able to score in big clutch situations in order for them to win a championship, and Anthony Davis can most definitely be that guy. The second is Anthony Davis's defensive abilities. Now, as you all know, Anthony Davis is actually not just a fantastic offensive player, but he is an absolute great defensive player as well. If you look at his stats so far for this season when it comes to defensive stats, he actually averages 12.3 rebounds, which is honestly insane, and he also averages 2 blocks and 1.3 steals. So these are some fantastic stats from someone like Anthony Davis. If we look at the current roster for someone like the Golden State Warriors, you actually see that when it comes to total rebounds, you have Steph Curry that is actually leading 3rd in rebounds. Now, unfortunately, I don't mean to disrespect Steph Curry in any way possible, but Stephen Curry should not be your 3rd best rebounder on your team. They definitely need another guy that can provide a lot of rebounds for this team. The highest rebounder is Kevon Looney, but he is only averaging 8.8. They need at least someone that is able to average at least above 10, and Anthony Davis could definitely be that guy. Now, I'm not trying to take anything away from Steph Curry. Like I always mention, I absolutely love Steph, but you definitely need more rebounding, and if your 6'4" guard is the one that is in the top 3 for rebounding, there definitely needs to be a big change with that. Golden State Warriors do a fantastic job against small ball teams, but when they start to go up against bigger teams such as Cleveland Cavaliers, who have Evan Mobley and also Jarrett Allen as their 2 twin towers, that's where they run into a lot of problems. Don't get me wrong, Draymond Green is a great defender, great rebounder. However, Draymond is only 6'6". No matter who you are, it definitely gets tough to guard someone in that 6'10", 7-foot range if you're only standing at 6'6". Now, Anthony Davis stands at 6'10", which is one of the reasons why he's such a great rebounder. He also weighs 253 pounds, and on top of that, he has a very, very long wingspan. But on top of all that, when it comes to not only his size that is able to get him rebounds, you can definitely see it in his vertical and also his placement throughout when he is rebounding. He knows where to place himself, he knows how to box out, and that's one of the reasons why we have seen such a great rebounding career for Anthony Davis, and this is actually the most rebounds he has ever averaged in his entire career. The last time he actually averaged this many rebounds, and especially when it came to blocks and also steals, was back in 2018-2019 New Orleans Pelicans, which is pretty much peak Anthony Davis. So he's putting up such great numbers, and even though throughout the injuries he's actually been able to improve over the years, which has been fantastic to see, and I think he can definitely continue to get better as time goes on. Now if we look at other things as well, Anthony Davis on the blocking side of things is playing very good, averaging 2 blocks per game. Now if we look at the Golden State Warriors, the leading shot blocker is Draymond Green with only 0.8 blocks. Now I definitely think this number can definitely be increased by Wiggins and Draymond, but it does help if you're 6'10", 253 pounds like Anthony Davis. So obviously it will be easier for him to get blocks, but something that doesn't also show up in the stat sheet is definitely contests around the ring. You definitely see it when Anthony Davis is playing for the Los Angeles Lakers. You see a lot of the times when guards especially drive into the paint, Anthony Davis is able to really adjust their shot, get a contest stop, and really have it make it difficult for them to hit the bucket. And I think that's something that doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but is something that is very important. Now Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, who are actually leading this team in blocks, don't get me wrong, they do a fantastic job at that, but like I always mention, guys, height is my in certain situations, and having a 6'10" guy who can jump very high and has a very long wingspan in the paint, such as Anthony Davis, it definitely causes a lot more problems for you. Now Wiggins, Draymond only stand at around 6'6", 6'7", and adding someone of his caliber of Anthony Davis with a 6'10" stature would honestly be fantastic, especially for the interior defense. I think interior defense is where we have seen Golden State Warriors drop off in defense, which is one of the reasons why they decide to bring back Gary Payton II. Currently, the Golden State Warriors rank 24th in defensive rating, which isn't really too good if you look at the fact that last season they were actually ranked number 1 in defense and now all the way down to 24. Now they did lose a couple of players in Otto Porter Jr., JTA, and before Gary Payton II, but now he's back, and I think that's one of the reasons why they decided to bring GP II back, was due to the fact that they needed someone that could provide great defense all around. And I think they can definitely get another great defender in Anthony Davis, not only in the rebounding category, but also shot blocking and a couple of steals here and there. The third reason is Anthony Davis's championship DNA. Now, I don't think a lot of you know just how important playing in the championship and also having a lot of experience in the playoffs really matters when it comes to teams and also players making it to the finals and winning an NBA championship. But it is completely important because Anthony Davis does have that in his DNA, and adding someone of that caliber that has that experience honestly makes it a lot more easier for the other players and also a lot easier for Golden State Warriors as a whole to win another championship. As I mentioned before, they got someone like Dante DiVincenzo who has been playing fantastic, but one of the reasons why, and Stephen Kerr actually said this in a recent interview, one of the reasons why they actually decide to end up getting someone like DiVincenzo for very cheap is definitely due to the fact not only he is a great player, but he has that playoff experience and also championship DNA. It is something that really isn't indescribable in a sense that no one can really describe what it feels like, but you can definitely see the players that are experienced versus not. If we look at last season, we saw the Memphis Grizzlies, who looked a lot better like the Golden State Warriors and were actually the favorites to win that matchup. However, what did happen? Experience took over. Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, list really does go on and on. They know what it takes to win an NBA championship and they know how to play in the playoffs, and eventually there's a reason why they ended up beating Memphis in that series, despite the fact that everyone was against them. And I think that's something that Anthony Davis can provide for this team. Now don't get me wrong, they all already have playoff and championship experience. You got Steph, you got Klay, Draymond, Wiggins, pretty much the whole roster. However, adding someone of this caliber such as Anthony Davis and having him have that an NBA championship DNA in him only makes it a lot more better and a lot easier for the Golden State Warriors as a whole to win another ring. So I think this is something that is so important, and he can definitely teach the younger guys, especially even someone like Kevon Looney, on more being a scoring big, and I definitely think it can help his game tremendously. We have seen this time and time again with Wiggins, who was a great player but only became a great three-point shooter after joining the Warriors, after Steph, Klay, Jordan Poole, school were able to teach him what it's like or how to do it and shoot a lot more threes at a higher percentage, and that's why we have the Andrew Wiggins we have today. So Anthony Davis can provide a lot with that championship DNA, not only to the team but also to the individual players for them to improve their game. Fourth is that Anthony Davis's play style matches the Golden State Warriors. Now, I don't think Anthony Davis has that superstar type attitude where he needs to be the main guy or anything like that. He's definitely taken a back seat to being led by LeBron James throughout his Lakers time, and I do think coming into the Golden State Warriors, he's not looking to be the star player or anything like that, and that is something that is very important. We have seen this time and time again where super teams come together and they just don't work. A perfect example was the Brooklyn Nets when they had Harden, KD, and also Kyrie, and we've also seen others in the past such as the Lakers with Kobe and Dwight when Dwight was at his peak. So we have seen this happen time and time again, and usually the biggest problem with all those teams is the egos getting in the way. So the fact that Anthony Davis is the way he is and is able to be unselfish when it comes to playing with this team, I think it will go a long way, not only for this team but also for their run if he decides to join the Warriors and go for that NBA championship. The fifth reason is Anthony Davis's high efficiency shooting. Now, I think this is something that is so important because when you have players like Steph and Klay around you, you are not going to have a lot of shots at the rim. Klay Thompson's going to take 11, 12 threes. Same with Stephen Curry. Jordan Poole needs to get his threes up. So Anthony Davis, when joining this team, may not have the same amount of shots he shoots at the LA Lakers compared to the Golden State Warriors. However, when it comes to all this, I think Anthony Davis with his high efficiency shooting will not have any problem. So far this season, he's actually shooting his highest percentage he has ever shot at 58%, which is absolutely insane. So I think it is fantastic to see him shoot such a high percentage, and the fact that he's doing that with 17 field goal attempts right now, if he does join a team like the Golden State Warriors, we may see that drop to around maybe 14, 15, but if he can shoot roughly around 60% of those shots in, it is honestly game over for any other team out there. So I think Anthony Davis being able to score that much at that high efficiency is a recipe for success for the Golden State Warriors.